Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ankh Ageplay Podcast. So it's been a while since I've done an episode. I've been a bit busy with life and local events and trying to build community. So, which is ironic because we're going to be talking about that today. Today I have a guest. I have a guest that I've been planning for the podcast for a very long time. Just that the computer I was running at the time was a crap box kind of. It wasn't. It was a good computer. It's just that you have to understand 2017 to 2025 is a very long time of space. And when I built my computer, it was just before the Ryzen came out. So my computer was essentially a really monster computer for 2017, but not so much for any time else. So now we have things are different. We have a brand new computer. We built a monster over here, so it's real good. But this brings me to the person that I wanted to bring up. This person is a dear friend to me. He is absolutely an awesome human being, and I met him through through my events, and since then he has branched off into his own events, and I have heard nothing but amazing things about his events. And if you guys are ever happen to be in Central PA, you guys should try to go to them. I'd like to introduce you all to LittleJJ. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for being on the podcast. I'm so glad to have you on here. How have you been? Because it's been a while since we've seen each other.
I've been pretty good. I've been staying busy, sometimes too busy, but enjoying life best that I can.
Yeah, both of us. I 100% agree with that. So as you and I have talked for a while about the whole idea of building community, and I was very interested in having you on the podcast to be able to talk about this. Being on, I wanted to hear about I want us to talk about what it is that builds communities, because you and I have both done event running. We have both run events and stuff, and you've been to my local events.
Yeah.
I wanted to know from your experience, from what you've seen and stuff, we're going to be discussing how do we build better communities, meaning how do we improve on what we have, because right now some of the things that we touch upon are actually pretty awesome things. But before we get to the main topic, I do want to ask, how did you find yourself in this lifestyle?
In this lifestyle, I guess it started at a young age myself. Originally, I didn't know anything about it, that there was other people involved in it. It was before the internet, because I guess I go a ways back in the 80s. I remembered having a desire to wear diapers and be babied, and I kept that a secret from everyone. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't know who I could tell or who I could confide in, but that was a big part of growing up. Even as I was growing up, I didn't know why I had those feelings, but knew I had some sort of desire to either be taken care of or babied, or I know the diapers were a big part of it, and it was something I focused on. Not all the time, but something I definitely thought about a lot when other people were, having crushes on girlfriends or whatever, wanting to have girlfriends. I was secretly thinking how cool it would be to have a girlfriend that babied me or put me in diapers and all of that kind of stuff. But I never knew who to talk to about it for the longest time. And then, then I had my own family and my own life, and raised kids of my own. And I put all of that on the back burner and didn't even think about it. It wasn't that I forgot about it, but I just stopped thinking about it and did my own thing for a long time until about, I guess, about 7 or 8 years ago. I looked on like personals for like, meeting up with people and saw someone posted about ABDL. And I got curious and started reading stories about it and just read all sorts of stories. And instantly I was hooked on it again. I started thinking about it all the time. And then I realized there was a whole community out there, like all over the world, all these people getting into it. And it like blew my mind. I couldn't believe that I had missed out on it for so many years of my life, where I didn't even know there was all these people involved in it. And at the same time, I regret missing out on all those years. So I mentioned it to my wife not long after that. I was like, hey, there's something I want to tell you. And discussed it and told her about my interests, something that I was into. And then we started getting into it more. Well, first me, and then she discovered that she also has little tendencies and enjoys ABDL as well. So it worked out pretty well for me, I guess, in that aspect. And from that point on, then I didn't really show my face online too much, but then I guess started to get the courage to do that, and then started going to events for. I guess it's been a while. I've been going to events, including yours, which was one of the first events I had been to, and then the big events like CapCon, and which is kind of about the community and meeting others, which I discovered to me was so much more special than just being interested in it and getting to participate in it, but actually meeting other people from everywhere, all over the country, and just different locations, different places, to, not only to help the community grow, but just to be able to meet people and realize that we're not alone, that there's plenty of people just like us, to me has been so special. But I guess that it's a long origin story, I guess, but that was how it began for me at a young age. Somehow, even though I was on the internet and wasn't a stranger to whatever kinks or fetishes, somehow, I don't know how I didn't find out about ABDL, and I wish I could turn back time and get all those years back that I missed being a part of it.
I was gonna say, like, for myself, like I've talked about this on the podcast. I ironically learned about ABDL like when I was a kid, because during the summer I would watch like Jerry Springer, because that was the only time I would be home to watch it. And I remember the episode about ABDLs on there. Well, I also, like, over the time always had this fascination with like wearing diapers. I'm not exactly sure where it came from per se, but I know the Jerry Springer episode came out, and that was the day that I realized that that there were other people that have that same desire. Like, I like the whole idea of being babied and whatnot. Like, you have to understand, I'm the youngest out of 7 siblings. I'm the 7th kid. I'm my mom's only, but I'm my dad's 7th kid. I was very used to that amongst my friends, because growing up, my friends were all 5 and 6 years older than me. Like, I was the little kid hanging out with all the bigger kids.
Yeah.
And like, during the time that we would play house and stuff like that, yeah, that's like, I was always the baby in that case, because I actually was one compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
I like, over the time of years, it's kind of funny, because I looked up to a friend of mine who I always called my sister. D was everywhere. Like I was always right behind her. Like, from the day that we first met and became friends, we became like really close, like family. Sadly, like, I haven't seen her in years, and I feel bad, because I've been working to try to reconnect with her, but like, it's been rough. She was in the kink community before I was, and I think she had left the community by the time that I had joined. But we were in two different communities, because if I'm not mistaken, like, when I was like 15, she was in her 20s, and she was she had to have been in the community for a while, like at least 2 years by that point. And I would follow suit once I went to college, and then I actually joined the community, and oh man, I had a rough time going. So yeah, people have heard that story, but my experience is not too far off from yours, because as much as I loved ABDL, I was researching online throughout my teenage years. Once I got my very first computer, I spent my Saturdays looking up Gundam manuals. Yeah, I know this sounds weird, guys. I was spending my weekends looking up Gundam manuals and doing what every other teenager does when they have a computer, looking up porn on the weekends. And I was specifically learning and reading magazines and stuff that were from the 80s and the 90s about ABDL, and reading articles and people's experiences. I didn't talk to anybody online or anything like that. I just read articles and stuff like that. I really got into it and thought that I really understood it. It was so weird because when I joined the community, I essentially had more experience with the community than most of the people that were in the original group that I was in, because I had studied so long that I had actually I felt that I had understood it. I came to learn so much more, but that's seemingly like in your case too, because like when you're a part of the community, it's a bit different than just reading stuff online, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I remember even my first time meeting people, it was like, well, I was so nervous, because I had read or I had seen the pictures or I had seen people's stories, but I never had a chance to meet people. But once I did, uh, like I mentioned earlier, I guess it helped me feel better about myself that I wasn't such an outcast. Even though, a lot of people, be it in the kink community or just in general, still kind of look at us as outcasts, but hopefully over time that will change, and the general perception will be more open-minded to it.
I would actually say the general perception has changed a lot. I think it has changed quite a bit. Like,
I think so, yeah. I think there's still people that have problems with it, but compared to what it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago especially, I think
we have fallen. I would say that as a kink, it's fallen farther out of the taboo category and has become a category on its own. We like the sexual BDSM side is still goes with the taboo territory, but the essential sensual side that most people love to experience, I would say that has fallen out of the discourse of the taboo range. The thing is that like I try to explain this to people about like perception. Perception is relative to the time. I feel that like I was explaining this to someone about like how I've been to events, like actual local like BDSM events in full ABDL gear, and like political sides regardless, people understood like what ABDL is. However, I find it fascinating. I don't know if I told you about this, but last week? I think it was last week actually. When was the 21st? 2 weeks ago. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, there was an event here called like Summer Sacrifice that was freaking awesome, by the way. It was a kink event with just a series of demos that were being done. And it was just fascinating. Like it was really cool to actually get to see like different demos being done. And there were, out of all the demos, there's about 3 to 4, maybe 5 if you count myself, because I wasn't counting me. 5 age players there. 5 of us. 2 guys, me and one other. There was me and one other dude. who's been to our events once before. I don't know if he's been there while you were there. I'm not sure. But he was there, and there was like 3 other girls that were also age players, and holy crap, that event was amazing. That was the first time I've ever seen like a BDSM ABDL scene done in Pittsburgh. You have to understand, I've been a part of this community for 12 fucking years. And I've never seen that. And there's a reason. I've seen those type of scenes like in German videos, in like other porn videos and stuff like that. Never seen it in person. This was amazing to me. So I was fascinated by this. And this actually made me think about the discourse with the community and how it's changed. Like the view that the kink community has of us is very different from what it was like 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think that's great. I hope it continues to get better. And I think it's amazing that, you know, even if not everyone is into the same things, that they can all be accepting of it. Or, whereas you said, you know, there was an event that wasn't solely just BDSM or wasn't solely just ABDL, but they were able to come together and still do that. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, same. Because I remember you and I had this conversation before at one of the events where we were talking about the acceptance and wishing that people were more accepting of ABDL. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I had said to you, I was like, yeah, I feel like we have reached that point, but it's not exactly where we want it. It could be better. It's just that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
So that brings me to that brings us to today's topic, actually. So when it comes to community, we all and this is for everybody. We when we talk about community, we usually talk about like the way we talk about people talk about like the overall community as a whole. Your base community, though, is really your local community. And local communities actually do try to focus and to try to help build that acceptance and that knowledge of what kink is and what lifestyles are and like how they can be focused to make one happy. In the particular case of the local events that I run, I have things like we have a stuffed animal drive where we actually do have an adoption center for people to bring in their stuffed animals if they have too many, and to give them to us, and then we can give them to more littles in the community. Because by doing that, there are people that can't afford those stuffed animals and stuff. So we try to focus on everybody who can't always do this type of stuff. Like we have a diaper drive and stuff like that. You, on the other hand, you, JJ, have really awesome events where you basically, don't you have meetups at like fun places that are kind of almost like Discovery Zone or
it was kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, but the nights we would do those, it was mostly 21 and over. Well, it was all 21 and over, so we didn't have to deal with kids. It was a public location, but it was a place that had ball pits and slides and arcade games and duck pin bowl, and they even had food and bar and drinks and all that kind of stuff. But people could get together, and I thought it was a perfect location, or a perfect place anyway, for people in the age play community and littles to meet up, because didn't have to worry about mixing in with underage people or anything like that. And then obviously it's a public location, so we were still dressing what's acceptable for public.
Yeah, in vanilla clothing and stuff.
Yeah, and how many other places can you go and you can be with other littles or anyone in the age play community in general and be able to go in a ball pit and play in these areas that are typically reserved for kids, but they were having these adult happy hour nights where you had to be 21 to attend. And the first time I was at that one, not for a specific ABDL event, but just to be there, I thought as soon as I was there, this would be a perfect location or a perfect idea for a Littles meetup. So I started doing those. Well, that event specifically, probably at least a year and a half ago, and we did that every month and sometimes bi-monthly.
Yeah, because your events are over there in Central PA, and like, by the way, if you guys are ever around there, you guys should definitely check out his events. They are so much fun. Oh my
Thank
goodness. But I wanted to say that your the events that you run are just like, I would love to do something like that. See, I had an idea to like go to like do something that like Dave and Buster's or something, like trying to find but trying to find like that playground style type place to do stuff is not easy because there aren't enough of them. So like I'm just happy that you guys had a place like that.
Yeah, those were really fun. Temporarily, we're not doing them. We're waiting for them to do their 21 and over events again, which should be hopefully happening again soon.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I still do monthly munches, and then we have after parties afterwards too, where it's, you know, those are more private, so people can get together and hang out and, you know, wear their ABDL gear or whatever they're comfortable wearing, and, you know, do all sorts of stuff from coloring to playpens that we have set up, and sometimes a high chair or stroller, adult size, of course, and, you know, be able to hang out with other littles and, you know, color and play games, be it board games, video games, watch Disney cartoons and all that kind of stuff.
See, that's something that, yeah, you see, that's awesome. But now this makes me want to ask you a question, right? How hard, okay, so from the perspective of us, like, of us event runners, what do you think was the hardest thing to do in order to get that started?
I guess just to get the word out, to get people to know about it. Like for me, I wasn't completely sure how to do it. In fact, I know I've mentioned this to you before. I'm grateful to you because you had helped inspire me and encourage me to get one going in Central PA. Or, you know, because we were traveling, me and my wife, we traveled to a lot of events and we loved meeting people. And a lot of times we were traveling a few hours, whether it was, you know, a couple hours to Pittsburgh, a few hours to Philly, or even out of state, Maryland, surrounding states, all that kind of stuff. But then you said, well, why don't you get some going in Central PA? And I thought to myself, well, you know, I haven't really organized events like that, so I wasn't sure how to go about doing it myself. I was kind of nervous. So for me, the way I initially started getting it out was just posting on FetLife, because I would see the events on there. And then, of course, having to contact places, you know, like to try to find a place that was private, that felt like a safe space where everyone could be comfortable and not feel like they're exposing themselves or something like that, or outing themselves publicly. So I tried to find a location that had banquet rooms. So we have it in a restaurant, and each month it's in a private back room reserved. So, you know, we can sit and talk. Obviously, it's still public, so we have to dress public acceptable. But, you know, I guess, and I was nervous about it because I thought, well, is anyone going to come? And then we started doing it, and the very first one, only one person showed up. And I was, you know, kind of down about it. I kind of felt bad and thought, well, maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe this isn't the right area. But then, through also encouragement from you, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you very much for encouraging me not to give up. I continued to do it every month, and since then it's grown, and now a lot of times we have a lot of people, and it's just really incredible for a lot of people that are meeting other people in the Ageplay community for their first time. And, you know, for them to get to meet and talk, even if it was a slow process at first and did worry me, you know, it's still provided a place for people to be able to meet and hang out, which I am very happy about that.
I was going to say that, like, the reason I encourage you so much and why I really wanted you to start an event is because there are a lot of people that are in like states that are far away from like actual like events. Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize this until I had a legitimate conversation with a couple of people through like Instagram and Twitter that have seen the podcast or have talked to me about different subjects and stuff. And they were telling me about like, yeah, I don't have a local event and I haven't been to one. Or there's one person that was like, I really want to come to your event. Like I plan to like travel all the way from like South Dakota or some shit like that. And I was like, what? I was like, holy crap. I was like, you have any idea how far that is? And I was like, that's insane. I was like, you have to have something local, right? And they're just like, well, no, there's nothing here. And that's why. And I'm just like, okay, we need more places. See, back when I joined the community, there were places in like Central PA and Northern PA and West and East PA and Southeast and Southwest PA. Like there were a lot of events. It's just that like as the pandemic came, it like a lot of those places are gone. A lot of those events are gone. And even in New York, like for instance, New York City, of all the gigantic damn cities in the world, New York used to have like its own ABDL crowd. Was it ritzy? Yes, it's in a rich city. But like after the pandemic, all those events left. Like Kenzo, I don't know if you met Kenzo Onyx.
I have, yes. Okay. I've been to one of their events in New York City, actually.
Love Kenzo. Kenzo and I go way back. Kenzo has been running events in New York City and has been doing a freaking good job. A matter of fact, Kenzo is probably the most overworked black man I've ever met in my life. Like, holy shit. Like he's like sitting on 6 boards running an ABDL event and somehow still has the time to look fabulous and walk around with a fan and fan himself off. I don't know how he does it. Like, oh, I do not envy that boy's stress. I do not.
Yeah.
But it's this is what I mean. Like, there are like, it's wonderful to have these places to be able to go, for people to feel accepted and to be able to meet more people who are wanting to feel like they are not alone anymore. And and that's awesome. I was going to ask this. So when you started getting more people, right? More like as you were getting more people, I'm guessing you started having some consistent people, or was it like a different crowd almost each and every time?
I think there was, different people each time, but there also was consistent people that started coming back on a regular monthly basis, and sometimes for a long period of time. But it hasn't always been the same day every month, which can be good or bad depending on people's availability. So sometimes people couldn't always make it every month, and but for the most part, we had a lot of consistent people and new people too. But there was a lot of people that would also want to come, and they would get nervous about it. I would receive emails. I still receive emails sometimes from people that they want to come to an event, but they're nervous to meet people, nervous to be around others because they hadn't been around others. But most of the time, people come and they realize, it's a really comfortable setting and it's a great place meeting others. But I've always tried to tell people there's no pressure to talk. You don't need to feel obligated, to instantly be social. Go into it at your own pace, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you feel like mostly sitting and observing, and then slowly getting into some conversations, if that's what makes you comfortable, that's what works best for you. I don't want people to ever feel pressured or anything like that, and I think that's how it should be for most communities, not just in ABDL, but just any communities in general. I don't want people to feel pressured, and always want them to feel safe, comfortable, and welcome.
Yeah, and that's how I want them to feel at mine too. That's why I focus the most on building community and building like friendships and stuff like that. People to get together and really enjoy themselves. I noticed that a lot of people connect more at the lounges than they do at the play party. And
Okay.
and and I think it's because of the way that I have the setting for the lounge versus how I have it for the play party. Like this, the play party is vibrant. It has toys. It has cartoons playing. People enjoying themselves. Like we have all of that. But when we do the lounge, it's like a little bit of dimmer lights, music, people just being able to start conversation, just be relax and enjoy themselves. Like that's what I feel is like a lot of people connect with.
Yeah.
But the thing is that actually built more community time, like people really conversating and becoming friends and doing stuff together and being excited to see each other. That's what I feel built a lot of that. And like sometimes people would meet up and everybody would gather immediately to the ends of the table and be like, hey, like how have you been? And then they just get the conversating and socializing and enjoying themselves. That's something that makes me happy. I enjoy stuff like that. But I also know that there are people who are really quiet, who are very new to the experience. And I always tell them, like, take your time. You don't have to say anything this time. I says, if you feel like you want to make friends with people, go ahead. No one is going to bite your head off. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And I try to make it feel as safe as possible. Um, it it's just one of those things that it's just people really want to try to find that acceptance, and that's when they just start really working. That's when they really start trying to do more, like actually do more. And
Yeah. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Well, for me, like I'm so glad, because I was kind of in that boat that I decided to do more myself, not just with organizing events myself, but choosing to take that step to go out there and start meeting people. Because for the longest time, it was, looking at pictures or seeing people's stories online and being, very interested in it. But then I thought, I don't know if there's anyone around here that's like that. So I'm going to start traveling to these events that I'm seeing about. And through going to them and being able to socialize, for me, that I, I don't know how to put it. It just opened up like a whole new world. It made me feel so much more comfortable, so much more accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And most people that I've talked to that have gone to these events have felt that same way, that they've, finally feel like they have someone that they can meet with and actually be able to talk about the stuff that they've, hidden inside their mind.
But a lot of people, when they go to events, some people immediately are looking. Like I've noticed this personally. A lot more people are looking for like regular events and not so much the BDS. Like, how can I put it? They're looking for the non-sexual side events and instead of the sexual ones. But it's like but I've noticed that people, like groups that have tried to integrate that together, have been having a hard time because there is a very much of a want of a separation of both. They want to try to keep both sides far away from each other.
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, I understand that 100%. We I used to work for a group that used to try to that tried to incorporate both at the same time, but it was over time that I started to realize that a lot of the people that were coming were not interested in the sexual side whatsoever, and some of them were like they don't want to know that stuff is going on, so they try to get away from it. So we tried to have in a room that was supposed to be like soundproof. Let me just tell you right now that like not so much soundproof, but it was like dulled sound, so you couldn't really hear it. But if people aren't really like mixing it up, or if someone in that room is being really obnoxious and screaming out loud during their session, that starts to affect both sides there, because it's like you have the obnoxious people that are forcing the other people who don't want to participate into hearing it, and the ones that don't want to hear it are annoyed that they have to. Like they don't want to be there anymore. It affects their little space. So a lot of there has to be a separation of it. Don't get me wrong, I like what Capcom did though. Capcom started having a Dark Age playroom, but they have it as a separate room that's like at the other end of the con, and you have to make sure that you take like safety lessons and whatnot. That's awesome. I love that. Like like to this day I still praise Capcom for that, because that was fun. Like that was great that they did that. And I love how they incorporated that, because then the people that didn't want to be involved didn't have to be. They didn't have to go there for that. While the ones that did, they could go through the whole con doing a whole bunch of different stuff. That's a lot of fun. I love stuff like that. That is amazing.
I agree. I think Capcom just as a whole is incredible.
It is.
The way that's grown over the years. But the way you said about also the BDSM and ABDL and all that kind of stuff, that was kind of my thoughts too, even when I first started doing events, because there were other BDSM and kink related groups in Central PA, but to try to find anyone in the age play or ABDL community with those was extremely hard. And I have nothing against the BDSM community. I'm, very open-minded with everything, with all kinks and all of that. But I wanted to do something, as a lot of others, yourself included, have done. And thank you very much for that. Like something that is ABDL specific or age play specific, more broad range. Because, a lot of the other things, if we went to, multi-kink events, whether it was BDSM, swinger, all kink-related events, we would never find any other littles or people in the ABDL community. And a lot of times I felt like it was kind of looked down upon, although that's not always the case with everyone. But I thought it would be great to have something that is only ABDL specific or age play specific, so people could feel more comfortable and not feel like those outcasts as well. And I think that's great for a lot of people in the community to be doing those, to give other people opportunities to socialize and meet. Help the community grow.
I find that going to those events and like advertising age play events usually is a little bit more fruitful than we usually give it credit for, because I'll explain why. I feel that it's more fruitful because of the fact that we let me see how to state this. So I feel that it's more fruitful because there are a lot of people who are ABDLs who are in the community who are into like ABDL, age play, DDLG, MDLB, whatever you want to put MDLG. Like I'm not going to go through all the acronyms, but the people that are into that are very much going to like BDSM events because they don't know that these other groups exist, like groups like ours. Like It's not like our shit is not widely advertised to the broad kink community, because that's just not how FetLife works. That's not how, and trying to get the word out there is not easy.
No, definitely not.
So I find that going to those type of events and talking to people and creating discourse and getting to talk to those that are there, a lot of times it works out because you're able to meet up with those that wouldn't normally know where to look. And if you build rapport with those types of groups, they'll direct people to you. I found that actually does work. So yeah, if for those of you guys listening for like trying to learn about event running, yeah, this is a good marketing strategy that you could do whenever you're trying to market your event to the community. Don't be afraid to go to these BDSM events. Don't be afraid to go to like dark age play events and stuff, and advertise your group, because there are people there that like the non sexual side of the events too. Like from I think I told you about this, JJ, but like I'm working currently on trying to get a dark age play event going. But the problem is that I can't do it under the moniker of the group that I run. I can't do it under Page. I have to do it under a completely different name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you were to do it under the Page name, it becomes a little bit, people become iffy about coming to your events because they think that your event is that sexual side, and you don't want them to be misguided on what the event is. So that's why, and some people have like negative connotations to it. Like for instance, I'm just talking about this because I know that Leap ran into a bit of an issue with this. And I like Leap. Leap are freaking awesome. By the way, if you guys are ever Lake Erie Age players, if you're ever in that area, go to that. You have some awesome people that run that.
I've not been there, but I've heard good things. I've heard it's a really
that's Riley Cabbage's event, and or Riley Cabbage and like I think Commander CJ is a part of that. I think so. Not sure. I gotta check that out. But like yeah, like Riley I know Riley Cabbage usually does some awesome stuff. By the way, Riley Cabbage started their a new podcast too. So if you guys ever get a chance to listen in on that one, definitely do so. Riley Cabbage is an awesome friend of mine, and I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, but like yeah, it is wild to me that like how they ran into the issue of they were doing an event that was dark age play themed, and some people had issue with it. So instead of making it just dark age play themed, they made it camping themed. And I think they still did the dark age play part, but it was separate from the camping part. That is amazing. Like that is strategy right there. but them running into the issue like solidified the thought process to me about how hard it is to have an event that you want to incorporate all sides of the community, and you can't because a lot of people don't want to, like some people don't want those two sides to mingle.
Yeah, that was kind of why I did mine specifically, ABDL and age play, because I knew there was other people that were running into the same problems as us, that they were having trouble meeting people that were specifically into ABDL. So I thought if that was something that it was advertised as, like my group is called, Center Pals, which stands for Central PA ABDLs and Littles. So it's, specifies that it's not just all kinks. And then I put it in the description for each event that it's people that are interested or curious about ABDL, age play, littles, and anyone in the age play scene. And I think anyone that wants to, start something like that, it's great. It's good for the community to help it grow and stuff like that. And although mine didn't always work out well, and even now we don't get huge numbers every month, but some months it's really good, and some months there's just less, but it's still just great to get people together.
Yeah. I was gonna ask about that, like one of the what do you think is like one of the toughest hurdles that you had to get through, jump over doing events? I have one on my list, but I wanted to hear what one of yours was.
Hurdles as far as it growing, or people knowing about it,
or like the hardest, like what was the hardest thing that you had to get past running events? Like what do you think it was like? What was difficult?
I think part of it was getting word out. I mean, I used FetLife, and then even for a little while, I was advertising the events on Tumblr and on Instagram as well. But I guess just having people find out, or the more people came, then even more people wanted to come, and then I guess people finding out it was a good thing and a safe place and a place they could be comfortable. I guess that's just the biggest thing, just getting word out. That was my concern, that no one would find out about it. So I tried to advertise it as much as I could. I Outside of that, I guess there wasn't too many hurdles. I guess just trying to find a place that had a nice private room. But other than that, it's been mostly positive experiences. Just people hanging out, having a good time. Sometimes the munches, it's nothing more than people hanging out, eating, and then the after parties are. Sometimes there's just a lot of sitting around and hanging out, but people are also playing games and getting to be little and all sorts of fun stuff.
I have a question because I know I hit this problem once too. Did you ever I don't know if you had the fishbowl effect happen. Have you had the fishbowl effect happen before?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so years ago, this is the best way for me to explain this. Years ago at my very first event, there used to be a group called Pittsburgh Littles. It doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, the group is still there, but it really is superfluous at this point. There was an event. There was an event that they held. It was like my very first munch that I ever went to. Was at a Panera Bread. And they have like meeting rooms for people to sit in, like these small little meeting rooms. And they're fun. Like, don't get me wrong. It's great. Like, it's a really fun thing to have like this meeting room for you all to sit in and just chat. But there's this giant glass fucking window there. And you have people sitting there just talking. Some people brought their stuffed animals with them. And they're sitting on the table. And then you have people coming into Panera Bread, ordering, like standing online to order. And then they'll turn back and look at like the people in there. It's like, what's going on? Why, like, what's going on in there? And to just stand there and stare. That is the fishbowl effect. You all are in a fishbowl and everyone is just staring at you. And
we haven't dealt with that too much, I guess. Mm-hmm. Luckily, this back room that we're in each time, I mean, we have to come in the front door, of course, to, tell them what we're there for. But then the back room, we're just kind of in there the whole time. So people can't even really see us. It's kind of around a wall and a back door. We still have to go out, in the lobby to get our food and that sort of stuff. Whereas, people may look because, say we're wearing cartoon shirts or something like that, adults might not always wear, but still, of course, acceptable for public. But because our room is more private, that you can't even really see into it unless you're specifically going into it, I guess we hadn't really had too many experiences where I felt like people were awkwardly glancing or looking at us.
See, that's why, because like I never forgot the fishbowl effect. I remember we used to, like, the one group that I was with, for the longest time we would meet up and at a Eaton Park in the waterfront. And I was like, this is a really fun event. Like, this is a really like fun thing to do. We can eat, everyone can talk. Hell, the Eaton Park was giving us, in some cases, would have crayons there for us. Like, they would have like coloring pages and crayons for us. Some of the waitresses knew what we were there for, and one time we got a waitress that was, I think she was an Age player, but she just never really explored it. And she was talking to all of us, and she was like, I love you all's group. You guys are great. And I was like, wow. I was like, you're really awesome.
I have kind of wondered that myself, even, I've never told the place where I hold the event what our group is, and I don't know that I really need to. All they know is that we're a group called Center Pals. Haven't really, felt the need to tell them who we are, what we are, just that we're a group and we prefer to have a back room for, privacy for everyone to feel comfortable. But it does make me wonder sometimes if they've ever figured anything out or suspected anything.
In a lot of cases, some of these places do. And they respect everyone because your guys are bringing in money. In the particular cases of like Eaton Park, and I don't want, please, people, do not think that all Eaton Parks are like this. There are just people that are just assholes that exist. Like every time that we held a munch, there was a group of people. I guess you could say regulars, that would come with their families, and they would go to the bathroom, and then everybody, for some reason, would walk past the bathroom and then try to see what we had going on in the back room. And I'm like, why? Why are you here? And then, like, we would go and get food and stuff. I would always go and get a plate of food or something. And I would always notice that there are these grandmas and grandfathers and just these, like, I want to say, like, senior citizens that would look at us and be like, what are you doing here? This is our territory. I'm like, the most, like, this is morbid of a comment, but it is the way that my grandmother used to talk all the time, and I miss this woman. You don't know how much I miss her. Like, oh my God. She used to say, all us old people have to do is to sit down, watch TV, and wait on death. And she's just like, when I told her the situation that we used to deal with, she's like, I don't know why they're bothering you all. She's like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's like, just sit down and eat your damn food and mind your business. Like, no one's talking to you. Like, why do you have to do that? And my grandmother would always look at me when I would tell her the stories about this. And she was just like, yeah, that's so weird. Like, you all ain't bothering nobody. You guys are spending money just like the next people. Why do they have to... Why they have to, like, judge you all on, like, what you're wearing or the fact that they don't know you? Like, you don't own the store. Like, it's crazy.
I think that's so amazing that you had a family member that was willing to support you in these events and was open-minded and accepting of all of that. I think that's really
Three family members, one of which I don't talk about. Mom and grandmother are very accepting, and my mom is one of the has always been a cool mom. And so when she learned about it, it was I've told that story about her catching me wearing diapers like back in 2018, and my grandmother just laughed like hysterically. The other person that knew about it didn't know what I did in the community. He happened to like, I just straight out told him, and I was just like, yeah, I work with the kink community. I do run events and stuff. I says, I'm tired, and I just went on a tirade about like certain things that I have to go through, and he was just like, you're more like me than I ever expected you to be. And if you guys are wondering who that was, it was my dad. The person that put me through so much goddamn trauma that I ended up being an ABDL. Yeah. Come to find out, he actually was a dominatrix in the community. I did not. Yeah, my mother ended up telling me this story, and I didn't know it. So I went to Folsom Street in 2018, and this old lady, she was up in age, walks up to me and she goes, excuse me. I says, yeah. She says, you look so much like a man that I used to know years ago. Do you have a family member that was in the community? I says, I don't think so. But in the back of my mind, I did know it was him. I didn't. I've always had suspicions, and I can explain why, but that would go into too much shit. But yeah, he. I go, no, not to my knowledge. She says you look so much like him. She says you could be his son, and immediately I was like, it has to be my dad because I look exactly like my dad. Like him and I look very close. So that's why I was like, I wonder. And after that, I never saw that lady again. But my mom was like, guaranteed that was one of the two women that he used to be the dom of. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. And then she told me the full story that, like, I guess my dad tried to get my mom into the kink community, and my mom was like, hell no. Because you have to understand, my mom is a good old Southern gal. She's from the good old South. And she was not about it. Like, I was the one that actually ended up explaining, like, kink to my mom. And now my mom has a brand new understanding and doesn't like 50 Shades of Grey. She didn't like the movie to begin with, but then because she thought, she was like, this is really bad. Like, this is terrible. And then I told her what, like, about consent and everything and how the community is based in that. And she's like, there was no consent given in this movie. I was like, no, it wasn't. And I said, and that's pretty bad. And yeah, but I was, all I'm saying is, it's just that, yeah, I have, like, my mom is very much supportive. To my cousin and my aunt, no. Also, one of my cousins and my aunt also know that I'm in the kink community. They don't know what I do, but they do know that I'm in the community. Do I care if they know? Not really. Because it really is, it's irrelevant at this point, because they know that my grandmother was accepting, and my grandmother was like one of the best people in the world, and they know that, like, she wouldn't have been accepting if it wasn't something that was harmless. So yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Has that made for any awkward situations or anything like that with family knowing some things?
No. Actually, yes. Yes, it has. As a matter of fact, I'm lying when I said no. I was lying when I said no. Yes, it has. Let me explain. One of the onesies I have, I do not wear anymore. Would you like to know why? Because my mother had the audacity to tell me I look like Baby Huey, the cartoon character, the giant baby duck, and wearing that outfit. And I haven't worn that outfit since. Oh, my mom, like, I had an interesting conversation with my mom recently because she saw some of the outfits that I had. And, like, she saw the Tykeable jeans, the Tykeable pants, and she was like, I love those. Those look awesome. And then, like, she saw some of the other ones that I had, and she's just like, why do those look so cheaply made? And I was like, well, I mean, she's like, you shouldn't be wearing stuff like that. You need to wear something, like, that's not so cheap looking. I was like, ooh. I was like, oh, man. And you have to understand something. Like, my mother was a model years ago. Like, she was like an award, like, she has trophies in her house, in our house for modeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And she has always been about, like, my mom made a comment when I was recently home, and she says, you are always a Buster Brown baby. And I didn't know what the hell that meant until I realized that she's referring to the shoes. So she's meaning, like, they were really expensive shoes for kids. So she was like, yeah, you always wore the top line stuff. She's like, I wasn't putting my child in something that wasn't top line. Like, if I'm going to wear something, then my child is going to look just as glamorous. And, like, she has kind of, like, shared that even with, like, clothing. Like some of the outfits that I wear. And she, like, for instance, LKB onesies that I have, she loves those. She's like, she says, those look adorable. I like those. But like,
I love all of their onesies.
I do too. Like, I don't think there's a onesie I've gotten from them that wasn't like great. Like I just went to, when I was at Summer Sacrifice, somebody walked up to me about the Mario onesie and they were like, hey, oh my God, where did you get that? That's so adorable. And I told them, and I was like, I don't know if they sell these anymore. It's just like the Peter Pan one that I have. I have a Peter Pan onesie that I got.
Peter Pan one. Well, yeah. I've never seen that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was on clear. Ironically, it was on clearance, and I asked her if she was going to make another one, and she said no. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to get this one. And ever since I got that Peter Pan one, I wear it whenever I'm Link. I have like an entire outfit that I dedicated to look like Link from The Legend of Zelda.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so...
And that one was also from Lilkinkboutique?
Mm-hmm.
Or LKB Boutique now?
Yeah, LKB Boutique now. Yeah, that's where it's from. The Mario one, I made a Pokemon... I haven't done the Mario outfit yet, but I did do a Pokemon trainer using that. And, oh God, that gave some weird... That was a weird experience. To this day, that was a weird experience. I had somebody come up to me and wanted to take a picture with me and my Pokemon because I was in an outfit for that event, and they thought that I was a cosplayer, and I felt so weird because I was like, I was kind of like, you have to understand where this event is like back streets in the most liberal fucking part of town possible. And I'm walking, and this person came up to me and was like, hey, you look freaking awesome. Can I get a picture with you? Now, it's not obvious that I was in full ABDL gear, because it's not like I was walking with a pacifier or anything like that. But I did have a onesie, and I did make the outfit look really, really good for Pokemon with the jacket and everything. And that was wild.
Was that also from LKB?
Yeah. Well, the onesie that I had was, because that was the Mario onesie I used. But I also, the reason I used the Mario onesie is because with the overall and the red shirt, it looked really good with the Ash Ketchum jacket I have. That's way too fucking small for me. And it actually worked out. And so when I wore it, people were like, oh my God, you look freaking awesome in that. And I had a Charmander that was with me. Like, I had a Charmander in my backpack, and I had like Pokeballs attached to my belt. So everybody thought that it was a cosplay. No one had a clue I'm like wearing diapers and a onesie right in front of them because this outfit was that good. Yeah. One person saw me in my regular jacket carrying my Charmander and immediately thought I was Cynthia, that I was male Cynthia from Pokemon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I was like, first off, I have a crush on that character because she is awesome. But like, oh my gosh, Cynthia is one of my favorite Pokemon characters. But yeah, it's like inconspicuousness as far as like wearing outfits and stuff. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Like you're trying to build an outfit where people don't know that you're wearing, or that you're in ABDL gear. Like they don't know. But you're like, I don't want to do this and like get caught or something like that. So yeah, no, I get when it comes to people, I completely get why they might have a bit of issue with like wearing stuff to events or changing at the event. I know some people are probably going to ask, well, why didn't you change when you got to the event? If you saw the bathroom at that place, you would understand fucking why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place was not the best. I've only ever had to diaper change once at an event. And that was because I drank a lot at that bar, and I had to go into the bathroom. This was during a kink event. And I ran to the bathroom and I was like, hey, I need to go and change. I'll be right back. And my friends are just like, for real? They're like, have you ever had to do that like in public before? I was like, no. I was like, this is why I'm rushing to the bathroom. Let's hope that the stall is fine. I got to the bathroom. This bathroom looks like shit. It literally looks like a punk rock bar. Like, you know, where there's graffiti all over the walls. The bathroom looks like it's falling apart and shit. Yeah, it was not the best. But I somehow was able to change and like get rid of the diaper and everything. I had to do that because I was scared that I was going to leak. Because I had wet this diaper like 5 or 6 times in less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, let me go and change. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had to change at too many events. Usually, if I'm going to an event, I try to change shortly before going there. That way I'm fresh and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, you do know that we, like, we have one bathroom now that has, like, a bench in it. So we turned the bench into a changing table. So now one of the benches is used as a changing table whenever.
Yeah, I believe I had seen that last time I was there. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to the building and told them, hey, could you guys make sure that that's there? Because, like, changing is a lot easier on that bench than it is, like, trying to like stand against a wall. Like, yeah, it's a lot easier doing that. And, yeah, we try to keep everything cleanly, so we, as you guys know, because you've been to my events, we have a separate garbage bag now for people that wear diapers. They can throw it into that garbage bag at the end of the event. We tie up the bag, take it to the trash, and then so that the staff doesn't have to deal with it, and the garbage people can just pick it up.
That's great. I think that's a good part about any events, public events, the sanitation, cleanliness, all that. So in case anyone would find out about, it being an ABDL event, that they at least didn't have to think negative thoughts and think, well, those people are dirty or they didn't clean up after themselves or anything.
Yeah, and that's and I try, like, even like whenever I hold an event, I try my damnedest to make sure that it's clean, because holy fuck. Like, the last thing I want is them to be talking about this, because I still remember Capcom 2023. Someone took a picture of the giant dumpster with all the diapers in there, and like somebody on Twitter was just like, wow, look at how fucking dirty these people are. And I was like, are you fucking serious, dude? That's cleanliness. Like, they're actually packing them in the place. Would you prefer them to be all over the fucking event? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on. Like, Jesus. Yeah, no, it was a really fun like fun time and fun event that like whenever the last event that we held was actually really fun. People were playing with toys, like more people are playing with the Barbies. We used to have like littlest pet shop stuff, but no one actually played with that, so we donated it to a little in the community. So a friend of the podcast, Itsy Batty, ended up getting our littlest pet shop stuff, and I don't know if she's posted it on Twitter yet, but she has a fucking amazing collection. Like, she collects that and Bratz dolls. So, like, I have, like, a little community of people that help us, like, find toys and stuff. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're ever looking for something, JJ, like, you can just ask and we'll look for it for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so this is more of a breakdown thing for people to get to know you a little bit better. So I heard that you're doing a Star Wars marathon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm on day 2 of a Star Wars marathon. We were trying to do episode 1 through 9. I've been a Star Wars fan for a long time, and I've watched them all over the years, but never did it all in 2 days. So yesterday we watched episode 1 through 4, and today we're watching episode 5 through 9. So I still have to finish the last part of episode 8, and then all of episode 9. It'd be like 21 hours worth of Star Wars in 2 days.
That's pretty awesome. Because I was gonna say, like, I'm a huge fan of like the original trilogy of 4, 5, and 6. I love the lightsaber battles in 1, 2, and 3. I was a huge fan of that, but like I got into the more like in-depth lore because of. So this is if you're wondering how I got into the Old Republic, this is actually a really awesome story, and a really fast one too. My local comic book shop sometimes sells other types of media, right? Like, you know, DVDs, VHSs sometimes. One day, this is like one day I went there and there were 2 cassette tapes that were just laying there. And I go, "Oh, what's this?" And I pick them up, and one of them was Tales of the Jedi's Dark Lords of the Sith, and the other one was Star Wars the Dark Empire, which is the evil look where the storyline where Luke goes evil and finds out that they had cloned him and the Emperor returns and stuff. It's where the 7, 8, 9 got their storylines from. A matter of fact, you know that scene where Luke is standing there in the newer trilogy in 8, and they're shooting him with the walkers?
Yeah.
That's from Dark Empire. That's
nice.
That's from the comic book Dark Empire, and it is a really awesome comic. Dark Empire is really good. But whenever you read some of those stories, Luke's scaling of power like rapidly increases and decreases based on how people perceive it. Like, remember, Luke couldn't lift an X-wing in Empire Strikes Back, right? He couldn't lift an X-wing, but in Dark Empire he tosses a walker. And you're like, what? Like, and Han Solo makes a comment of, "There are some days that kid just scares me."
Yeah, I love the Star Wars movies, but I love all other nerdy stuff too. Like, I love the Harry Potter series. I love Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings are amazing. But, you know, of course, and I love all the Disney movies too. They'll always have a special place in my heart, but I still love all the nerdy, geeky stuff like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter too.
Yeah, I'm speaking of Lord of the Rings, where like did you watch The Hobbit too?
I did, yeah, I've watched all of them.
Mm-hmm. I know some people are gonna yell blasphemy whenever I say this. I'm more of a fan of the animated Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit. I was a fan of the animated version because I found
they were good. I liked them, but I prefer the newer ones, the live action movies.
For me, it'll always be Ralph Bakshi's version that got me. Don't get me wrong, I love the Lord of the Rings stuff that they did make, because I think the Nazguls look freaking awesome in the new movies. I think they look amazing. A matter of fact, I finally got a second Nazgul, but I have like a really tall one, and then I have a smaller one. And I have to figure out what I'm going to do with those, because, oh my gosh, I've always been a Ringwraith fan. Like, even as a kid, I was a fan of the Ringwraiths. I thought that they looked freaking awesome. I was also a fan of Sauron, but the thing is that I'm not a fan of Sauron's depiction in the movies, because I didn't like his armor. I never liked his armor in the movies. In the Ralph Bakshi version, I love the way that he looks like rotoscope. You don't see his face, but you see him in shadow, and it's awesome. I love that depiction of like him having horns. Like, I thought that was actually really cool, because they made Sauron look like a demon.
Yeah.
But
I've always loved those.
Who's your favorite character out of Lord of the Rings?
Oh, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I usually love, the good guy characters. So I would have to say probably Frodo or Sam
For me, it
or
was
Aragorn.
Yeah, I was about to say Aragorn for me. It's between Aragorn and Legolas. Legolas was one of my favorites because in the Ralph Bakshi version, the live action version, oh my god, Legolas didn't miss a single arrow. like that arrow never missed. It was insane. I was like, I know there are people in the world that wish that they had accuracy like this. He has 100% accuracy, and that is insane to me. Like, he is not missing.
Yeah, them elves are pretty good, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was gonna say that have you seen, like, because you're also a horror movie fan, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a big horror movie fan, which is, it's kind of I don't know what the word is. It's not hypocritical because they are two completely different things. But yeah, I love horror, but I also love little stuff. So like even here at my house, I have a huge collection of horror stuff that I've been collecting for many years. So like one room is my horror room that's got all of my horror figures, and then right down the hall I've got my littles room that has all the fun little stuff and stuffies and toys and all that stuff. So they're like complete opposites, but
I find that funny because in my room, because you've been to my room,
yeah.
I have like that 18-inch Chatterer from Hellraiser, because Hellraiser is one of my all-time favorite series.
Oh, Hellraiser's great.
Yeah, I got a lament configuration that actually changes now. So like I have I always keep the box right near me because I showed it to my roommate, and he which by the way he said hi to you because he's like he was like, wait, you're doing a podcast with JJ? That's awesome. He's like, tell him I said hi. He said,
Oh, that's awesome. Tell him I said hello.
Will
He's a great
do.
guy.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, he's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's by the way, he still wants you to play in his tabletop game, which I hope that you do. I hope that you.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Hopefully, I could do that sometime.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like I bought this lament configuration, and I told him, I says, I was super excited. I was like, oh my god, it's here. And he looks at me, he goes, what's here? And I says, the box. And he says, get that shit away from me. I was like, what? I was like, why? He says, because he says, there is nothing that those sons of bitches are gonna come here and say to me that they will be like, hey, we have such sights to show you. And he's like, no, you don't have sights to show me. You have sights to show him. He's the one with the box. I was like, wow, you were just throwing me under the bus like that? He was like, yes. He's like, you had the nerve to go and buy that damn box. Oh man, I am like, Hellraiser is one of my favorite all-time series. I freaking love Hellraiser.
Yeah, like Hellraiser. Nightmare on Elm Street was always my favorite for horror.
Ain't nothing beats that. What I think it was it new I think it was called New Nightmare on Elm Street. That was the one that they did after they did the original 3 movies. And where he says, welcome to prime time, bitch. I love that movie because of that scene.
Yeah, they were all pretty good.
Yeah,
I would just need a combination of the two, horror and ABDL. I want to see a horror movie ABDL character.
That exists.
Now, those two probably wouldn't mix together very well. Right?
No, there actually is that exists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a horror movie. There's an ABDL horror movie.
Really?
Yeah, which says a lot. It's actually was filmed in Britain, and I heard that it's actually really freaking good. I heard that the movie is actually really good, and instead of an ABDL, essentially, it's oh my god, what's it called? It's like a mommy dom that's like a serial killer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And there is one with like a psychopath like ABDL, but I can't remember the movie. I'll look it up because there is like I think it is in that movie. I think it is in that movie. Yeah, because it is fascinating to me.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, if I gotta see what the name of that movie was. I think it's not The Nursery. Because
It's weird though. Even though I love horror myself and love ABDL, like for me, I don't really typically mix the two together. Like I own like a lot of horror movie shirts that I will wear. You know, they're usually dark clothes. But when it comes to ABDL or feeling low or just feeling cute, I like to wear bright, cute, and colorful clothing. Whereas when it comes to horror, I guess I like it dark and scary, and it's just weird that they're two opposites, and I'm into both of them.
See, I love that too. Like for myself, a lot of people see me wear Street Fighter like shirts and like superhero shirts and stuff like that. I would wear horror shirts to an ABDL event because my most comfortable wear is really like a comic book shirt and diapers, and then like the socks, and that's it. That's really like my comfortable wear. That's what I enjoy wearing usually. Like onesies are fine, but like t-shirt and diapers, thigh high socks and shoes are fine for me. Do you find, and this will be like the question where we'll where before we head off. I just wanted to say, have you ever felt like there isn't enough boy clothing in the community?
Some. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some, but it definitely seems like there may be more feminine type clothing than
Yeah,
boy.
femme to
But I think and not
unisex.
to just make a cheap plug. I think LKB has a great selection of boys and girls clothing.
Yeah, same. I like their stuff. The reason why I asked is because there was a conversation between me and a friend, and I was talking and between my mom and I too. Like my mom and I had the same conversation. There isn't enough boy clothing in the community, and my mom was like, "Isn't the community majority guys?" I was like, "Yes," and she's like, "Yet they don't make the clothing." I was like, "Because they don't feel that it sells." And she's like, "That's ludicrous." She's like, "They would definitely buy it." I says they would. But the thing is that a lot of those places don't feel that guys would buy those outfits. I says, mind you, we live in a community that has a bunch of people who are trans, who are looking for clothing that is more with their identity, and we're kind of forcing them into femme clothing. Not saying that some of them don't like femme clothing, but we give them femme and unisex clothing, but we don't really aim for what they are looking for. They want more, like, we all want more, like, masculine clothing in the community. I was like, and because my mom asked the question about socks, about like thigh highs, and why like she's seen some ABDL guys wear them. And I explained that like we had to incorporate femme clothing into making more cute masculine clothing. And I says, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying that we need everything to be masculine and femme. I just would like to see a little bit more masculine stuff. So I because I identify as male, but like I wear like unisex and femme stuff too. But I would like to see like boy clothing. And now I've heard some girls in the community talk about that too. They're like, yeah, there really should be more boy clothing. And it's good that this conversation is being had, because when I had this conversation years ago, people accused me of some random shit, and I was like, no. I just want to feel like a boy. But anyway, Yeah, I'm really glad to have you on the podcast, by the way.
I was very glad to be on it. I had a lot of fun, so thank you very much for having me on it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a heads up and everybody else a heads up on this. There will be a new show coming soon. A brand new podcast coming soon. I'm working out some stuff with it. This is two new podcasts. One is going to be a talk show where we're going to have people throughout the community come in and we talk on different topics and stuff like that. So, and we'll have different guests that come on and talk with us. So yeah, I hope to have you back for that too, JJ, at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. The other series that we planned that I'm working on is a vanilla series with my roommate. So for those of you that are fans of this and like nerdy conversations, that is going to be a podcast that's going to be done. It's going to be a really fun podcast. It's going to be called Flipping the Ambulance. Yes, there's a reference to that. But yeah, it's called Flipping the Ambulance. It's going to be a really fun like podcast. Sometimes we'll talk about kinky shit. Other times we talk about like it's mostly about comic books though. Like comic books, power scaling, movies, wrestling. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. So yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. But thank you for being with us, guys. And thank you for joining me today, JJ. It was fun.
Thank you for having me. It was a really good time.
Yeah. I can't wait to have you back on because we got other shit to talk about. We got yeah. Because I have fun nerding out with you. But yeah, thank you for being a part of the podcast, and thanks you all for listening. And I will see you all in the next episode. Later.
See ya.